In this video, I'll uncover the best foods to eat if you are at risk or have a fatty liver. Many people are suffering from type 2 diabetes and unknowingly suffering from prediabetes and insulin resistance. And as a result of that, it's estimated that over 100+ million people are suffering from fatty liver. This is a big issue. Now, one of the core things that you must do if you want to reverse a fatty liver, or any health condition for that matter, is you really have to double down on diet and focus on the different foods that you must eat that are going to support reversing that. And so that's why in this video, we're going to talk about the best foods for fatty liver, the foods that you should be consuming on a daily basis if you want to reverse fatty liver naturally. So stick around to the end of this video. But before we get started, I'm Dr. Zyrowski and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to hit that notification bell and join our notification community. That way I'll help you excel your health and your life. Let's go ahead and talk about the first food here, the food group that we have to look to when we have fatty liver. Now, the thing is, like I mentioned before, people who have fatty liver, they've likely gotten there because they have a major problem with their diet. And so this would indicate that they're not eating enough leafy greens, they're eating too many carbohydrates, too much sugar. I mean, the diet is very, very poor. So we have to make sure that we go in and we increase leafy greens and we increase the bitter vegetables known as cruciferous vegetables. These different vegetables are going to be, here's some examples: broccoli, bok choy, arugula, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, kale, radishes, and turnips. These are the different vegetables that you want to add in on a daily basis if you're trying to reverse fatty liver. Now, a lot of people who have fatty liver, they got there because of their poor quality diet. So when it comes to adding in a lot more leafy greens and a lot more cruciferous vegetables, it can be a struggle for them. One of the great ways that you can actually start adding these in is by making some different green smoothies, okay? Make these green smoothies. You can make them so they taste very good, and as a result, you're getting tons of nutrients, and you can even go in and add in different supplementation that is going to help support reversing this fatty liver problem, which we'll get to more in just a moment. Now, the other thing about these cruciferous vegetables is that they're highly nutritious. I mean, it's so important to add these in because they're superfoods. They have tons of nutritional content, antioxidants, vitamins, good minerals. They're very important for your liver. And so make sure you're adding these in. They're at the top of the list of things you need to do daily if you want to reverse fatty liver. Eggs are next on our list. Eggs are a really good food because, first of all, it's considered nature's multivitamin. You're going to find so many different good things in eggs. And a lot of people are consuming multiple eggs a day, especially if you're following the ketogenic diet. I mean, people on the ketogenic diet love their eggs. And the ketogenic diet, of course, is a great diet to follow, by the way, if you have fatty liver, if you have insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes. And so eggs are great because it's nature's multivitamin. They're also great because they're rich in choline. Now, choline is incredibly important for the liver. And the thing is that happens is when people have a deficiency in choline, one of the things that will happen is they will actually not be able to export a lot of that fat from the liver. As a result, you'll get a higher fat accumulation. Eggs are going to be rich in choline. Eggs will help get that fat, remove that fat from the liver, get it out, flush it out so that you don't have that huge fat accumulation and you're able to start reversing this problem. So eating a lot of choline-rich foods during this time is going to be important. Now, the other thing to consider too, because we talked about type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance as to why you may have fatty liver. Another thing that can happen when we talk about the conversation of fatty liver and choline and how important it is, the thing that can happen is that some people have genetic variations. I personally have 2 genetic variations that makes me very prone to a choline deficiency. So do you think that I actually want to make sure I'm adding more choline in? Absolutely. I supplement with it, and I also make sure that I'm eating choline-rich foods in order to support liver health and brain health and all the areas of your body that choline will actually support. So choline's important here. Antioxidants are also going to be found in eggs, and this is important during this time to help decrease inflammation. And they're also a great healthy protein source, a nice array of amino acids found in eggs. So add in some eggs if you want to reverse fatty liver. Sardines is next on our list. Now, sardines are great because they're rich in omega-3s. These omega-3s are found to be very powerful when it comes to reversing the fatty liver issue. Now, what they've shown in the research is to reduce lipid accumulation, help reduce liver enzymes. When you have fatty liver, you're going to have some particular enzymes that start to go high. The sardines, the omega-3s, are going to help bring those enzymes back down, help balance them out. It's also going to help reduce insulin resistance because this is important. And as we mentioned multiple times, you don't just get fatty liver out of the blue. It usually is this whole package of insulin resistance. It's a whole package of, cholesterol is all over the place. We want to make sure that as we go through this process of thinking of reversing fatty liver, we're thinking about improving whole body health. So if we want to reduce insulin resistance, the omega-3s are great, and they're also highly anti-inflammatory, which is important too. Now, what the research shows is that when they used not only the fatty fish, but they also went in and used a fish oil supplement, an omega-3 supplement, they found that the supplementation actually performed better than consuming the fish. So take that into consideration. Adding in some omega-3 supplementation is very beneficial at this time. Now, I also want to mention too that we talked about sardines here, but some other good fish that have good omega-3 content are going to be salmon, mackerel, anchovies, and herring. So these different fatty fish right here, loaded with omega-3s, good for people who have fatty liver. Now, walnuts are next on our list that are actually really beneficial when it comes to fatty liver. It's kind of a surprising one that we find to really show positive results in the research. Now, they're rich in omega-3s, right? Now, for many of the same reasons, we talked about sardines being very beneficial, fatty fish being very beneficial, all those omega-3s, walnuts are doing in many ways the same thing. So what they did is they did research. They took 106 patients over 6 months, and they basically had them consume different types of nuts. And then, of course, they had another group go and consume walnuts. Okay, the group that was consuming the walnuts actually had better results in reversing fatty liver than those who were just eating any type of variety of nuts. So walnuts are powerful there. There's a 2015 study that basically showed walnuts improved the liver enzymes and function. So, whether it's fatty liver or any liver problem, or just maybe in general, you want to improve your liver health, walnuts can be your friend here. So add some walnuts in. Now, next is green tea. Now, green tea is going to be loaded with antioxidants, lots of catechins in it as well, which are highly beneficial for your overall liver health. It's also going to reduce fat storage in the liver. They basically found in the studies is that people who are drinking lots of green tea, about 3 to 4 cups a day, were able to reduce fat storage in the liver and also just had healthier livers in general. And it also has a positive metabolic effect. When we think of the negative metabolic effect associated with diabetes and insulin resistance, we always think of how we can improve that, and green tea is a great way to improve that metabolism and also have a positive metabolic effect, reducing the risk and also reversing fatty liver. Now, coffee is another one that, I really love, of course, but it's really great for fatty liver. And one of the things that's interesting about the research on coffee is they were kind of like, well, we're not really sure why it's working so well. Is it because of the caffeine? Is it because of the antioxidants? But in general, coffee works really well for people who have liver problems. It's shown to reduce the risk of liver cancer, liver cirrhosis, and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And it also has been shown that people who drink more coffee tend to have more balanced liver enzymes. So one of the things that the research has shown time and time again is those who drank more coffee had a lower risk of having liver problems. And also it helped reverse and reduce the risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Last thing that we need to talk about here is avoid these, okay? It's so important to make sure that we're avoiding certain foods. Think of how you got there in the first place, right? Like I said, there's genetic variations. There's some oddball things out there that can cause some fatty liver problems. It can cause deficiencies that lead to them. But in general, this is it. This is the reason that most people are getting the fatty liver problem. So alcohol is one. Now, of course, in this case, I'm generally speaking of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but alcohol is one reason you can have some liver problems, right? Now, we want to stay away from this if we have fatty liver in order to help reverse the problem faster. High fructose corn syrup is like one of the worst things you can have when you go and suffer from fatty liver, because this high fructose corn syrup is very likely to be stored in the liver. This is a terrible type of sugar that basically has to be highly processed in the liver, and as a result, it's stored in a big way in the liver. So we want to make sure we're staying away from high fructose corn syrup. Think of all the cookies out there, the sodas, all the nonsense garbage foods that are terrible for you, that are loaded with this very inexpensive sweetener in order to sweeten it up for you. But the problem is it causes a lot of health problems. So stay away from this. Fried fats is another thing that we want to stay away from. I mean, if you just in general go to pretty much any restaurant and they're serving a fried food, that is a fried fat you want to stay away from. If you're in your home and you're going to fry something over coconut oil, or you're going to fry something over some avocado oil, totally different story, okay? So you can have some fried foods, fried fats at home, but stay away from the fried foods out in public. And then, of course, white stuff, okay? When I say white stuff, I'm just thinking of white stuff in general. White sugar, white pasta, white flour, white everything. Stay away from all that white stuff out there, and as a result, you're going to find that you're able to reverse this issue and get very positive results. Put in the comment section below what you do for fatty liver and how you've seen really good results. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and watch this video that will help you know what you need to do for proper nutrient intake and supplementation if you have fatty liver. Okay, if you're still drinking sodas, you're eating high sugar foods, if you're eating a lot of candy, any of these things that are high in sugar, we have to make sure that we're getting rid of them.